Whoa, now, easy. Good morning there, DBF family. Another day in the garage, and as you can see behind me, the old wagon go-karts back on the table. It's actually never left since last time you saw a video. On today's agenda, brakes, seat, and steering is the goal for the project on this thing today. So let's get after it. So next up on this thing, disc brakes. Let me show you what I got and what we're gonna use to stop this thing. So for the rear brake system, what I've got is, as always, ordered off of Amazon. So what I've got here is a whole front brake setup, and the application for this thing stock is actually for the front brakes on one of those bikes. If it's that one, if it's that one, if it's the one behind it, that one, that one. Yep, if it's a Honda dirt bike, front end of a Honda dirt bike. So, the reason I did that is because these are a dual piston caliper, and these things produce a ton of stopping power. Don't know if these are gonna be as good as the factory stuff. I think these were like, this whole system with the front brake line, caliper, and the master cylinder was right around 40 bucks. I mean, that's pretty dang cheap. Looks to be pretty decent stuff, but it's hard to say. So the way this is going to work is the front caliper, which is now going to be the rear caliper, is going to sit like so. So my next step is I've got to figure out how to build a mounting bracket for said caliper off of that bolt right there and that bolt right there. So I'm gonna get the cardboard out, cut me out a template, and fire up the plasma cutter and build us a bracket. Looks like a mustache. I need a plasma table really bad. I see one in my future, I think. Some of you might be wondering why I'm not buying just, you know, an Amazon go-kart disc brake kit for, you know, fairly cheap. I mean, they're like, seriously, they're like 25, 30 bucks for master cylinder, brake line, and all that stuff. And I think those would work fine for this application, but probably one of the biggest reasons I'm doing this is because if I ever wear brake pads out on this thing, which I'm pretty sure will happen, all I have to do is order a set of front brake pads for a 02 to, I think it's like 2010, 2007 right there, Honda CR or CRF front brake pads. So that's the reason I'm going with this setup versus the go-kart style setup. Well, good morning. We're back in the garage today. We got Jed on board, and we are currently gonna mount the seat on this thing so we can get the steering column fixed, or actually get the steering column mounted, and then move on to the forward controls such as the brake and throttle and all that good stuff. So right now Jed is building the bracketry that will go inside of here to accept the rear seat mount. These springs are off of basically a Harley type Springer, whatever, I don't know. I'm not real familiar with Harleys, but yeah. Tractor, boom, boom, boom. I don't know what they are. But anyways, that's the configuration we're gonna go with. Should give us just a little bit of, you know, bouncy or whatever, so I don't know. All right, so we got the seat all mounted up. I'll show it to you as soon as Jed gets off of it, but we run into kind of our first problem and kind of knew this was gonna happen. But where the steering column's gonna go, it's right, and carburetor's right in the way. So we're gonna have to take the intake off, carburetor off, and basically build a new intake runner. And what I'm thinking is we'll actually mount the carburetor off to the side, which will give us enough room for the steering shaft to come down and mount to the bottom of the front end right here. And then the pitman arm will go left, right, left, right. But other than that, everything's coming together now. Everything we're kind of doing on this thing's kind of fly by night. It'll work out eventually, or it won't. All right, steering column is tacked into place. Next step is to get the mid steering column mount built and fabricated. Let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. So I need a support to come off of the frame of each side from here to here. But you know, I could just run some tubing from here up and weld it here, weld it, and give this thing some support this way and this way. But I want something that will be, you know, that'll look kind of like hot rod stylish, you know, just kind of basically blend with the look of what we got going on here. So let me show you what I've got so far. So what I've got so far is I've got my template cut out, and basically something like that. I got to get me a plasma table. This cutting stuff out like this by hand it's doable. I mean, people did it for years. I mean, people did this before they had, you know, plasmas. I mean, people did this before they had regular old handheld plasmas. They did it with torches and drill bits and all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of fitting on this project, but man, I sure would like to have one of them arc droids. Hey, arc droid, just saying. Kind of like that. Family, what's up? So today, Jed and I are back on the old rat rod wagon, and Jed is gonna work on mounting the battery. And where he's going to mount this thing is underneath the seat, and it's going to mount about like so. So while he's doing that, I am going to work on the steering column. So I found a local guy here named Tim that cut this out on a plasma table. I drew it all out on paper. He transferred over into his CAD machine and cut this out, and it's going to live right underneath the steering column. And like so, as a support for the steering column. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get that tacked into place while Jed is gonna drill spring steel, and it's gonna be a good time. Squeak, squeak, squeak. All right, so next is the fuel tank. Where I want to mount this thing is pretty much right where that steering shaft comes down. So the plan is to cut the bottom of the tank out. On that mark, take this section out, and that's gonna let this sit down on top of the steering column. And we'll take a chunk of aluminum, horseshoe it, and put inside of there and weld it on, and then set that down on top of that so it's clear down at the bottom. Make some mounts, and we'll have a low slung front spun fuel tank. Got the fuel tank cut out. Check that out. It doesn't hold fuel anymore, but it will. And it is gonna live like so, right there on the front. So now what I gotta do is bend a piece of aluminum. It'll go down inside of there, and we'll come around and weld it, put an outlet here on the bottom, outlet here on the bottom, tie them together into a T so it comes at one straight out, and it pulls fuel from each side evenly. So I'm gonna do that. Jed's still working on the old battery mount over there. Time to fire up the welder. Okay, so what I got going on here is I've got the old Vevor press out, and I've got this pipe in here, and we're gonna try to press this plate up through, which will create a kind of a taco shell. And once we get, how you doing over there? Jed's trying not to kill himself. Any hoosers, I'm gonna try to push this down through there and pinch that in kind of a taco shell so it will fit between that fuel tank. So I don't know how this is gonna work out. We're about to find out. She's hot, buddy. She is hot, hot, hot like a firecracker. And it's wobbly. It's all over the damn place. Stay. Not gonna stay. Not bad, not bad. Not bad for a taco. Taco. And a hair lift like myself. Well, good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful Sunday morning here in the DBF garage. And yesterday, Jed tackled the battery mount and installed the battery on the wagon, and I worked on mounting and cutting and modifying this fuel tank. Next step is wiring. Ugh, I know a lot of people just threw up in their mouth. Trust me, I feel you. Look at this rat's nest of wiring. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spare you guys the painful process of wiring this thing. I've actually got this thing to make spark. It's charging, so everything in that aspect is great, but there's just a few extra plugs here and there that, you know, went to things that we're not going to use, like brake lights, turn signals, headlights, you know, stuff like that. So I'm going to tear the harness down completely and remove what we don't need done. So that being said, we are also kind of at a standstill on parts. We're waiting on a few things here or there, so unfortunately not going to see it run in this video. But I do have a surprise for you, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to go get another project that's coming up real soon, and I want your guys' opinion on a few things. So I'm going to go get it and check this thing out. It's awesome. I can't wait. Come on in, bud. Come on in. So what we got here is a 1978 Honda Z50. I got this bike from my good buddy Troy. His son-in-law had this bike. He grew up on this bike, rode it as a kid. It's been sitting around for, I don't even know how many years, but she's got some miles on it. She's got some miles on it for sure. Say hi, Jace.
How you doing, guys?
And so what we're gonna do today is I want to see if this thing will fire up. I'm not sure we're going to get it to run long enough to actually ride it down the road, but I'm at least going to get some fuel put in this thing and kick it over and see if it'll fire. So my question for you guys is, what do I do with this thing? Do I 100% fully restore it or do we do a modern mod kind of a thing on this thing? I'm leaning towards the full restoration on this thing, 100% stock, but I want you guys to go down in the comments and let me know what you think. So anyways, that being said, well, Jason and I,
let's get after her.
We're gonna get this thing and pull the carb off and see if we can get some petrol in it and see if she'll fire. Oh,
there we go. Now we're finished.
Yeah, she's rusty. Look down inside that tank.
Yeah.
Oh,
easy now.
And apparently it's got a little water in it.
Oh, that's not ideal.
Yeah, definitely got a little moisture in that tank.
A little bit of stuff.
I'm gonna have to clean that out and eventually coat it. If you guys can tell, it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, it's rusty inside that old girl. Pretty nice. Typical. They just got the old carburetor tore apart. Looks like it's been living in the bottom of an ocean for a while.
Got some crustaceans.
It does have some crustaceans in there for sure. So we'll get that baby cleaned up. I got the old tank. We got a magic solution inside of it, trying to knock the big chunks of rust off of it for now. Eventually I'll acid wash it and recoat that tank. But for now, it should work. See if we can get this old girl fired. What we've got going on here is the main jet in the carburetor is basically goobered or seized inside of it. So what I'm gonna do is heat the outside of it up just a little bit and see if I can get that to break loose. I don't know, might break the carburetor, we'll see.
That's why you're doing it.
Well, you know.
I tried, but I got scared.
I'm not afraid to break anything. I'm pretty good at it. Just a little bit of heat goes a long ways generally. Oh my gosh.
She's in there pretty tight, Ski.
It's moving though.
Oh, good. That's what we like.
Brass is, yeah, look at all the junk falling out of that.
Crustacean station over
Oh
there.
Man. Ethanol fuel. I hate it.
It's ruined America.
It's definitely not helped America out, that's for sure.
Worst thing they ever did was stop selling leaded fuel.
Leaded fuel and high cetane sulfur diesel fuel.
Yeah.
We didn't even pull that out. It wasn't even plugged up.
Oh man.
We got her though.
Oh, a little update. Yeah. We may have got a little ahead of ourselves. We got everything bolted back on. Before we put gas in it though, thankfully we decided we might want to check for spark. Didn't have any, so we kind of went through. But it looks like up under there, I don't know if you can see that them points might be rusted closed. So Kev's over here looking for his flywheel puller.
I have one somewhere.
We're hoping it's the same as the CR500 flywheel puller. Pull that flywheel off and see if we can get into those points and maybe clean them up a little bit. Hopefully, because I'd really like to take this whole sister for a burn down the road.
What do they say, cross thread's better than 2 lock washers?
Yes. Well, it acts like it kind of wants to.
It wants to. Whether or not it's gonna. Oh yeah, she just
get a couple threads in there, it'll work.
She's a little
gummed up.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too hard on there, but she's tight. Tight. Oh.
Hey, look at that.
Winter chicken dinner.
What you doing there, Kev?
Well, I'm trying to revive old points, and turns out that they actually ride off of the inside of the flywheel, and it's hard to tell from probably on the camera, but this has got a little bit of an eccentric to it, that as this spins around, it opens and closes the points. What I don't know is how much of this is possibly worn off. So I'm gonna assemble this thing back together, roll it over, watch the points, adjust them, and see if that's our problem. If that's not our problem, it's probably gonna be the condenser, which I don't have one. So we'll go back to looking, I guess, at this point. Clean the old flywheel up and see what we can make happen with her. after a little bit of cleaning of the points and adjustment on the points, it's been a long time since I've had to adjust points on a dirt bike. Man, I'm going back in the archives up here.
Good thing Kev's here.
Oh,
I had no idea what to do on that.
Yeah.
I'm not a points guy.
Well, it's like I said, it's probably, I'm not kidding you, I bet it's been 25, 30 years since I've messed with points on a bike. So anyways, he kicks that thing over. Oh yeah. We got spark now, baby. So as long as we get fuel to it, it's got compression, got air, got spark. Fingers crossed, she'll light right up. Woo! So we'll throw her together, see what happens. Put a little premix in it, a little 927 maximum, because people say, oh, you can't put 2-stroke oil, 4 strokes. I got a lawnmower that's never ran on straight fuel.
It's probably why it's still running.
I agree, I'm sure. But the reason I'm doing it on this is for the simple fact of, I don't know how long it hasn't been ran. This might be a good way to lubricate the top end of this motor. Because again, I have no idea what the inside of the motor looks like, and it's not gonna hurt anything.
And it smells good.
And it does smell good. It smells like victory.
Any little ether aid in there?
A little diesel crack?
Little diesel crack, you know?
May not hurt. Oh. It sounds like a sewing machine, dude.
The light's even on there.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude, the light.
Oh, look at that. You might be an oil burner.
Oh, that is cuter than a bug's ear right
Listen
there.
to it.
That is a humming old shit.
I can't believe it's running.
That thing runs like a freaking Swiss watch, man.
Oh yeah, get some.
I mean, she's rolling a little bit of snow, but that's okay.
You know, you worry about a thing to death. That's the funniest thing I think I've ever
even
seen.
idles.
Yeah, she's a little high on the old idle, but
Heck with it.
yeah, she.
Might want to leave her high idle, burn the cobs out of her a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's not even 2-stroke smoke. That's regular old.
That's motor oil?
Yeah, that's regular old 1030. I cannot believe how quiet that is.
You can ride that thing to the grocery store.
Seriously, minus the smoke, hydrocarbons. Oh, we gotta go for it.
Whoa! Oh, power!
Oh my God.
That's one of the cutest things I've ever seen in my entire life.
They don't like it. They definitely don't like the uphill or past about quarter throttle. You better take her for a
I better take her for a burn.
Definitely needs a little carburetor work, which hard to believe, right? All down. Whoa, now, easy. This might be the funniest thing I've ever had. Definitely one of the funnest bikes I've ever had. Oh, the old phrase, something about a monkey and a football, I don't know, just kind of came to mind. What do you think of that old sister?
This thing's fun.
It's awesome.
This thing's cool. Way cool. Hold the car back apart. Whoa!
Brake works good.
Leaned it out, adjusted the air fuel, adjusted the idle a little bit, and see if maybe leaning it out helps us. It sounds better.
That's way better. She was great, man.
Woohoo!
I feel like I need a helmet. Yeah, take her for a spin. She's way better now.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, she's still not cherry, but
it sounds better. When I heard you hit third right there, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep in mind it is a 50cc.
That's what I was just saying the same thing.
The things that make me smile. I'm pretty simple-minded, I guess, because that made my whole dang month. let's lean her out just a little bit more.
Take her first.
Go try that, see what it does now, if it pulls any better mid-range. So we lowered the needle, raised the clip, which should lean out mid-range. It acted like it was running really rich, and mid-range wouldn't transfer from, you know, off of idle mid-range to full throttle. So we might have to go back up with the clip all the way on the needle. We'll see if that did any, see if that little adjustment made any difference right there, just doing the air fuel mixture. Better?
A little bit, yeah.
That's way better.
Way better.
Come on, dog. Come here.
Come on, Lou.
Well, that's gonna be it for this episode. This little 50 right here. It's a sweetheart. Jason and I had more fun on this thing the last 2 hours than is probably even legal. But back on the wagon cart, rat rod wagon cart, you know, didn't get quite as much done as I had hoped. Had a few things come up here or there that we needed small little parts for, and there's no blueprints to these things. It's build them as we go along, so it's obviously going to take a little bit longer. But that being said, we'll catch you guys next time, and next time we go out, I'm thinking we're going to be on that. Oh yeah, that's Fab Rat's CR500. It's done. We're just trying to meet up, get a good time, and go for rides. So hopefully next time you see us, we'll be out on that thing. Oop, little sneak peek, not too much. Thanks for watching.